Good evening and welcome back. This is World Talks coming to you live from Warsaw. I'm Salia Strzemska, and tonight we'll be talking about the economy. Polish Development Bank has just approved a multi-billion zloty loan to support one of the country's energy providers in its transition to cleaner energy. The funds will go towards projects such as renewable power and energy storage. To discuss what this means for Poland's energy future, I am joined now by Jarosław Dąbrowski, board member of the Polish Development Bank. Good evening, sir. Delighted to have you with us. So let's start with outlining what is the bank's role.
Well, BGK, it's the major institution in Poland to support economic growth and social development. Wise Poles, 101 years ago, set it up after gaining independence in 1918. They have realized that the others, they have unified countries and stronger economies, whereas Poland, after 120 years of partitions, was, as we know, struggling to unite and to have economic growth. So BGK is quite an old bank in a sense, but that gives us a power to put and to root our mission for the future in this fantastic history. BGK nowadays is one of the top 5 institutions, banking institutions in Poland, as well as in Europe. We are among top 5 development banks in Europe. BGK is a Polish bank to develop Poland further on. We did quite a lot in the last 30 years, and BGK has its own role there, but everything is ahead of us, still ahead of us. And it's fantastic to celebrate the fact that we have just been admitted to the top 20 economies in the world, but we have an even better future if we do it well.
So for now, what projects, what types of projects are you supporting?
Well, you know, the bank is doing its own job, which means providing the economy and, of course, the local government as well as government institutions with the credits, guarantees, but also we recently opened up the area of the equity investments because those 3 areas must go in common. In other cases like, you know, France, Italy, Germany or Spain, I mean, our benchmarking banks, they do it in a coherent and sustainable way. And we would like to do at least on the same level, if not the better one. So bank is providing credit to number of public and private institutions. But also we also serve the government with regard to very important tasks like, you know, to promote certain, you know, economic activities or to enhance various type of programs which are important to put Poland into even better shape for the future. Very important for us is to focus on energy transition, energy development in Poland. We know that coal energy is quite expensive. You know, Polish coal mines are quite old-fashioned. You know, the coal is deep there. The deposits are very difficult to extract. So we have to develop quite sustainably, but fastly also, renewable energy, you know. And, you know, this can't be done without BGK. So that's why this Tauron transaction is a very good example what BGK in its strength, because as I said, you know, we are top 5 or even top 3 institutions, banking institutions in Poland, may and actually can do for the future.
Right, so we're going to get to that in a moment, but I just wanted to ask you more generally, what role does the bank play in disbursing these funds through the National Recovery Plan?
Well, KPO, as we call it in Poland, or Recovery Fund, Resilience and Recovery Fund are very important financial stimulus for the economy. Let me remind you and let me just put a note that this is 265 billion zlotys equivalent of, which is divided into 2 parts. The first one is a lending part, and we do it almost exclusively as BGK. And the other one is, these are various types of subsidies, donations, and support of this kind. So, you know, both are very important. without KPO, without a Resilience and Recovery Fund, I would have said that, it's going to be very difficult to very sharply and quickly put the money into the economy. So what we do now is we want to make sure that in 3-4 areas of the major investment, which is energy transition, which is digitalization, which is innovation and technology, as well as defense and security, we take all the money which is disposable for Poland. And we have still 15 months to go because the program is envisaged to finish by end of next year. But it's a hard work, first, to identify cases, second, to professionally deploy the money, and then to manage and help the clients to make sure that the money works well for the economy and for the citizens.
Mm-hmm. You've already mentioned Tauron, so 5 billion zloty in a loan. But what other projects in the energy transition area are you currently supporting? Perhaps you could give us some examples.
Absolutely. We are servicing basically all major energy companies in Poland, private and state-owned, which means that we are the most important lender for them. Of course, we act sometimes in consortia with the private banks. We don't want to substitute them. We want to mobilize the private capital. But in terms of KPO, we have this exclusivity, which is very natural because in the other countries, also the development banks, they have this special role. So, we do offshore and onshore. Offshore, we are providing companies with a substantial money. We're talking about billions of zlotys. And, it's not only the public or state-owned companies like Tauron, like PGE or Orlen, but it consists also the private capital like Polenergia. So, our aim is to deploy as much as possible of the available funds for energy production in terms of wind, solar, but also biogas. This mix, onshore, offshore, biogas, solar, and wind, I think it will pay back and pay off very soon, in few years. This is not a complicated business. So once you actually got the debt or other forms of equity, you can really very quickly set up energy facility and provide the country with energy.
But what are the potential risks associated with these types of investments? Are there any?
Of course, every investment is connected, associated with risk, but without investment, you don't have progress. So, the art is balancing between risk and benefit, profit and challenging problems, So this is a very experienced bank, I spent almost 25 years in European banking, mainly in Central and Eastern Europe, sitting in Warsaw in number of projects which I was running. And most, if not, majority of our staff is actually these are very experienced bankers. So I would say that in the debt side, in the lending part of the KPO, I believe that there will be no surprises. Of course, sometimes the project itself may not work well, but on the other hand, we are there to support the management team and the company itself with appropriate advice.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the criteria that the applicants for a loan, for instance, need to meet?
Obviously, the number one criteria is that it has a sense. It's a sensible project which pushes, Poland or drives Poland upwards. As I said, those 4 main areas are very important because, the last 30 years, fantastic success. Actually, the number 2 in the world, fantastic. Not in very many areas and fields, we are having such privileged, a special position as economic growth. But the new economic growth will be driven by AI, by digitalization, by robotics. So, we are not only working with energy transition companies, but also there is a quite important part of the KPO, of the Resilience and Recovery Fund, almost 3 billion zlotys, which will be devoted to digitalization, including AI. So, these are very important areas for us to focus. I also mentioned about security and defense. It's very important for us to make sure that Poland will be secured and it has enough abilities, not only in terms of arms, but also infrastructure of defense, to make sure that, Poland will be safe and sustainable in its economic growth. So, we look from this perspective, and at the same time, as bankers, we must make sure that the money will be back after 25 or 20 years to the Polish state, and then, of course, repaid back to EU. I just want to mention at the end of this sentence that these are very favorable rates, and also the structure of funding is fantastic. So, answering some points of criticism, that this is not a very good deal which Poland made with the European Commission, I think, very rarely, if not almost impossible, to get such rates in a normal commercial banking sector.
And so let's expand on that. I mean, how do you gauge the impact of projects funded by money from the National Recovery Plan on Poland's economy and investments in Poland?
Well, we will be, of course, monitoring the performance of the projects and the companies, including local governments. It's a very important part of our program because it's more than 15 billion zlotys, which will be going to local communities, local governments, cities, smaller, bigger, and institutions connected to the local cities and local governments. So, we will be monitoring not only financial performance, but also the value-added element. That means, what is the input, what is the positive influence of the given project or given program is contributing to the local society or to the local economy also, but also for the pan-Poland projects like energy storage, for instance, or energy distribution. These are very important, two very important areas connected with production, but without storage and without proper system of distribution and transmitting the energy, that's gonna be very difficult to change the energy mix. So not only the financial performance, but also, I would say, a real economy input and real economy value-added element.
Jarosław Dąbrowski, National Development Bank, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching World Talks. Please stay tuned for more here on TV World.